Win streaks, career milestones, and the Nationals turn the Dodgers from Hollywood into Jameswood. Just another day of baseball. We're taking you all around MLB. This is Locked On MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Thank you for being here for this edition of Locked On MLB Game Night on a Tuesday, April 8th, unless you're where my co-host Jake Riepma is in Texas, and it's Wednesday, April 9th. Jake, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I don't know whether to say good evening, good morning, whatever it is. I'm fired up to be with you, John. Let's run this back. We had a whale of a night last night, and what do you know? We played a few more baseball games again today, so we've got a lot more to talk about, and fired up to be with you and everybody tuning in on a little late night MLB game night. Let's make it happen.
Love it, love it. He's Jake Riepma. I'm John Frisch. I'm one half of Locked On Angels. Listen, on today's show, Polar Pete Alonso. He doesn't mind the cold conditions at Citi Field. The Mets win their 6th in a row. Tarik Skubal shows why he's a Cy Young winner. And Kenley Jansen notches his 450th career save after he takes charge on the mound and tells everybody where to stand and where to play defense. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Thank you to our friends at FanDuel. Jake, I think we should take it from the top with the Mets versus the Marlins. 10-5 win for the Mets. 10 Ks from Clay Holmes. Can we call them 10 Clays? Can we say that?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Clay with a K. But yeah, the Mets heating up, John. And I for one was a little bit no, I don't want to say skeptical, but just a little bit weary of how this all might gel with the expectations that the Mets would have. Obviously, the huge offseason addition was Soto, but so far, so good. And listen, there's not a team. I mean, any team in New York, they're fun to point and laugh and hate and make fun of when things aren't going well. But for the New York Mets right now, they are cruising right along, 6 wins in a row, and they look tough because they're winning in multiple different ways, right? They won 2-0 last night, and today they bring the bats out, and it's a slugfest. So looking like a dangerous team in the NL East for sure.
Yeah, nothing to laugh about when it comes to the Mets. Let's head on over to Locked On Mets for a little bit more insight.
By a score of 10-5, the New York Mets have won their 6th game in a row. They've won their 3rd consecutive series, taking the first 2 games of their 3-game set against the Miami Marlins, a chance at 1 o'clock on Wednesday to potentially get a series sweep yet again before they hit the road. This is Ryan Finkelstein, the host of Locked On Mets, and on yesterday's show, I told you all, the New York Mets are about to turn a corner offensively. Well, sure enough, it was a big game for the Mets bats. 10 runs scored. Francisco Lindor hits his first home run of the season. A pair of RBI doubles for Pete Alonso gives him 4 more RBIs on the year. Pete continues his red-hot start to the season. Starling Marte, Brandon Nimmo, they each got a couple of RBIs as well as the Mets were able to cruise to a blowout victory. The pitching wasn't as good in this one, but it did not need to be. Big win for your New York Mets.
Love that from Ryan right there. And, they're not regretting their decision to bring back Pete Alonso, no matter, how much contention there was during the first half of the offseason, right? We weren't sure where Alonso was going to land, but he ends up back with the Mets, and the Mets are pretty happy about that right now.
Yeah, listen, I was one that was curious how much gas would be left in the tank, and again, so far so good. But have I said my disclaimer yet that it's still early? We're still playing April baseball. Let's get it out of the way 4 minutes into this program that it's still early. But clicking on all cylinders for the Mets, and obviously a chance to sweep back-to-back series is a testament to that.
Now, on the other side of things, we have the Marlins. Let's get a video from Jeremiah Geiger and what he had to say about his Marlins.
The Marlins just don't have what it takes to Mets. What's up, guys? It's Jeremiah Geiger from Locked On Marlins. Marlins lose 10-5, and they were in the game for a while. Top of the sixth inning, Derek Hill hits a 2-run home run to bring the Marlins within one, a 6-5 ball game. But in the home half of the inning, a very questionable decision by Clayton McCullough to intentionally walk Juan Soto to load the bases and then play the infield in. The Mets broadcasters were like, what are we doing? What are the Marlins doing? But it didn't matter because Polar Bear Pete Alonso, Marlins killer, hits a huge double, clears the bases to go up 9-5, and they end up winning by a score of 10-5. Marlins bats just didn't have what it took to keep up with that type of offensive firepower. They struck out 14 times, had 2 extra base hits, the home run by Hill and the double by Otto Lopez. But all in all, it's just the Mets were too much today.
Heartbreaking stuff from Jeremiah 2 days in a row. I need to give Jeremiah a hug, man. That's how I feel right now. I don't know about you.
Say the same thing. Like, cheer up, Jeremiah. We got 160 more of these games or something like that, whatever it is, 152 of these. But no, you love the passion there from Jeremiah, and you feel for him because his ball club found different ways to lose back-to-back games. Yesterday getting shut out, and today just they couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Exactly. Hey, let's take it over to Yankees versus Tigers, where the Tigers won this one 5-0 behind Tarik Skubal, 6 shutout innings, 6 Ks, showing everybody why he won the Cy Young last year, right, Jake?
Oh my goodness, John. You talk about what was a welcome sight for Tiger fans. It was Tarik Skubal on the mound, the bulldog that he is, just mowing down one of the best lineups in all of baseball, perhaps a historically good lineup in baseball, and all was right in the world if you're a Tigers fan. And interesting little note on this one, John, the catcher for the Detroit Tigers, Jake Rogers, went on the 10-day injured list just an hour before game time. And Tarik Skubal always throws to Jake Rogers for his entire career. That's always his catcher. So backup catcher Dylan Dingler was in there. It did not matter. Like you said, 6 innings of scoreless baseball. And one of those games, the Tigers actually hit 4 home runs in this game. They're all solo home runs, but after the first home run, you're watching that game thinking, all right, Skubal's got it today. The Tigers only need 1 or 2 runs, and sure enough, he goes 6 innings. Brent Herter goes the rest, the 3 innings of relief work, and 4 home runs. You'd think you'd score more than 5 runs, but hey, you won't find me complaining about a 5-0 Tigers victory. And on top of that, Kerry Carpenter goes yard. That's important, but what's noteworthy against a lefty, and the big discussion amongst the Tigers circle is why won't AJ Hinch play Kerry Carpenter against lefties more often? At least give him a chance, and that's not his first, but his second home run against a lefty this year. So I feel good about Kerry Carpenter and where he's at as a hitting lefties, because that was something he just could not do last year.
Yeah, you love to see it when somebody comes around like that. Always great to see. How about the Yankees getting shut out after their offensive explosion to start the season with the the torpedo bats? You might have torpedo bats, but you still got a hit. And the Yankees were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Aaron Judge had an opportunity. Jazz had an opportunity. Volpe and Austin Well. Those are the guys you want to deliver, and none of them were able to come through. For more, we're going to head on over to Locked On Yankees for just a little bit more insight.
Yankees drop another tough one, losing 5-0 to the Detroit Tigers to drop to 6-5 on the season. And they just got dominated by Tarik Skubal. Not a single hitter below the 3-hitter in the Yankee lineup had a base hit in this game. It really was everything the Yankees could have dreamed of. Carlos Carrasco was not good enough. The team wasn't good enough. And we told you this on Locked On Yankees all week. This was the start that Tarik Skubal was going to look to prove something after starting the year off 0-2. He was coming out with a little bit of vengeance, and he showed the Yankees that. We're going to discuss that and much more the rest of the week on Locked On Yankees, Monday through Friday. Every single morning it comes out on YouTube or all your podcasting platforms.
Now, the beauty of the Locked On Podcast Network is that you have local experts bringing you all the insight. In fact, we're going to head on over to Locked On Tigers for more.
It is now 5 straight victories for your Detroit Tigers, and they are 7-1 since getting swept in LA to start the season. I am Scott Bentley, host of Locked On Tigers. A 5-0 victory for your gritty Tigers against the New York Yankees. Tarik Skubal was phenomenal. I know that some people were talking about in his first two starts of the season. Oh, is he okay? Is this a problem? He's fine, dude. All right, he's fine. He's one of the baddest dudes on the planet. He's one of the best pitchers alive, and he proved it again today. The Yankees shut out for the first time in 2025, and the Tigers hit 4 home runs in this ball game at home when it was frigid temperatures outside. They are putting up really good offensive numbers with a billion injuries, and that's really encouraging, and hopefully they can carry that into tomorrow, going for back-to-back series sweeps. We'll talk about that and more on Locked On Tigers.
Definitely going to want to catch Locked On Tigers as they've just won 5 in a row. The Mets won 6 in a row. A lot of win streaks going on, Jake, around the league. That's great to see as this young season continues. Hey, we want to thank you for being here for Locked On MLB Game Night. After the last out of the last game, the Astros and the Mariners trying to keep us up all night waiting for that last out. We're going to continue our conversation. In fact, we have a comment here from Nicholas who says, "Let's go Brewers." Don't worry, Nicholas. We're going to get to that game against the Rockies, and we're going to get into all of it here on Locked On MLB Game Night in just a minute. Hey, today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is getting you ready for the NBA playoffs, and they're giving new customers incredible ways to get in on all the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. FanDuel is making betting super easy, whether it's picking your favorite team or dividing into player props or diving into those from three-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So, like they said, NBA playoffs coming soon. Don't miss out on all the action. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And because it's Locked On MLB Game Night, it's everybody's team every day. Jake, let's keep it going. Let's talk Dodgers and Nationals, and James Wood doing it again, right?
Yeah, how about it? I mean, don't look now, but the Nationals showing a little spicy personality, a little character, saying don't sleep on the Washington Nationals. Back-to-back wins over the Dodgers, and wow, I mean, count me as one that's very surprised by that.
Yeah, James Wood homers twice in this one, two-run homers. He homered the previous night as well. He also walked in a run for a 5 RBI night. For more, we're going to go to Locked On Nationals and get a little insight from the local experts of Locked On. Here we go.
You look back at today's game and you're going to think to yourself, that is when James Wood became a superstar. I'm Ryan Clary of Locked On Nationals, and I am happy to report the Nationals wallop the Dodgers 8-2, and they have now won 4 straight games and 2 straight games against the Los Angeles Dodgers. But let's get right into it, because James Wood, not 1, but 2 home runs in today's ball game. The first inning, he got it started with a 2-run shot driving in Alex Cole that went dead center, 391 feet, 111 off the bat in 45-degree weather. And then later on in the game, in the 4th inning, he went dead center again with 106 off the bat, 413 feet with a 30-degree launch angle. This was the James Wood game. And also Brad Lord, first major league start, and he shut down those Los Angeles Dodgers. You got to love being a Washington Nationals fan as of right now. And let's go for the sweep in tomorrow's game.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about for Nationals fans. And, you know, Brad Lord, there's something about a team like the Dodgers, or any team really, seeing somebody for the first time, seeing somebody get a start for the first time. And I know that sometimes there's not a book out on somebody. I know sometimes that there's not video out on somebody. But sometimes when a guy like that, like Lord did today, gets their first start as a major leaguer, it really kind of confounds the other team, doesn't it, Jake?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I also think, John, there's something to be said about the adrenaline and the excitement of going against the league's best. I mean, that lineup top to bottom, you know, you can only imagine the mental gymnastics you're playing, pitch in and pitch out, where all of a sudden you get an out. Well, your reward is now you have to face the next superstar and the next superstar. And so maybe, you know, for the young kid, it was, you don't know what you don't know. And he was just, you know, functioning on that adrenaline, and it proved to be effective today for the Washington Nationals, who 4 in a row. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, we just did the Mets 6 in a row, the Tigers 5 in a row, the Nationals 4 in a row.
How about that?
On the other side of things, we have Vince from Locked On Dodgers with more insight.
Well, it's now a 3-game losing streak, and 4 of the last 5 lost for the Dodgers. I'm Vince with Locked On Dodgers, and it was a disaster from the start. From the first inning, Dodgers were down 2-0. Justin Robleski made the spot start, and he was not good. He gave up 8 hits. He walked a few. He gave up 2 homers. He gave up 8 runs, and the Dodgers lost 8-2. Not the best outing for Robleski. Not the best outing for the Dodgers offense. They struck out 15 times. I know we talked about the cold. I know we talked about the weather, but, you know, if that's the case, the Dodgers got to make adjustments. Dodgers got to be better, because it's tough to lose these games against teams that you shouldn't be losing against, and especially against a team that was starting a bullpen game with not the greatest bullpen and the closer out. So overall, a bad night for the Dodgers. We're going to talk about it more on Locked On Dodgers later tonight, so make sure to check it out.
Are the Dodgers picking up where they left off, you know, having no starting pitching, but winning the World Series with their bullpen? Are they already there again to start this season?
Well, they very well could be, and I'll say it again. Excuse me. It's early, and you know, we'll see. But I'm not sounding the alarms if I'm a Dodger fan.
Yeah, they certainly have enough pitching depth, it seems, because they signed everybody. I know Snell's hurt right now, and they're waiting on Ohtani to come back at some point. Man, I have been the benefactor of watching Ohtani pitch as an Angels fan. And so people are in for a treat if they have not watched him. And for him to do it for the Dodgers at some point, we hope this season, is going to be a really good thing. Let's turn it over to Phillies versus Braves. The Braves got a much needed win, 7-5. It was a couple of aces going in this one, Jake. It was Zach Wheeler versus Chris Sale. Now, the Braves were desperate for offense, and right when Ozuna looked like he was going to hit a home run, Edmundo Sosa robs it, and he's playing left field for the first time, and he steals a home run from Marcell Ozuna. Fortunately for the Braves, Sean Murphy, in his first at-bat back, smacks a 3-run homer. Kyle Schwarber triples for 2 RBIs. Later on, he homers. Listen to this, 116.7 off the bat, 462 feet. That was absolutely crushed. But
No doubt.
It's not the way the game ended for the Phillies, because the Braves take the lead on an Austin Riley double. Then Ozzie Albies scores on a wild pitch. Much needed win for the Braves, 7-5 over the Phillies. It was back and forth. What do you say?
Yeah, you can't downplay how important this win was for the Braves. And yeah, I mean, the Braves are just too good of a ball club to be losing 8 out of 9 games. I mean, that's just insane. And the ball will start to bounce in the right direction. You'll start to get the confidence back. The hitters will start to hit, and that pitching staff is too good to be held down for much longer. So if I'm a Braves fan, in fact, I was talking to some Braves fans today, and I don't think there's a sense of panic or worry amongst the fan base, despite that 1-8 start. You start to stockpile some wins, and it'll be just fine.
Look at the Mets last year, man. You know,
Right.
They didn't start out so great either, and they end up in the playoffs going further than the Braves were able to go as well. For more, we're going to go to Locked On Phillies to talk about the other side of things. The Phillies took the 7-5 loss versus the Braves. Let's get into it.
Well, the Phillies dropped the series opener in Atlanta to the Braves 7-5. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. Weird game. Like, really weird game out of the Phils. The offense looked pretty darn good. Kyle Schwarber was a double away from the cycle. It seemed like they saw Chris Sale pretty well, and yet they had a bunch of swings and misses. They couldn't get to Atlanta's bullpen. Really the huge difference in this game, because Zach Wheeler wasn't as sharp as he should have been, but neither was Chris Sale. The big difference is Johan Rojas in center field with a brand new left fielder out there not taking control of his outfield, basically gifting Atlanta 3 runs early on in the game that made the difference. That doesn't happen. The Phillies are winners tonight, or probably winners. I know it's early, and I'm not putting it all on Rojas because there was a lot that could have gone right for the Phils in the ball game that didn't. But man, you got to make those plays. You can't give teams like Atlanta life, and now, well, they feel like they have life in the series. We'll talk more about it on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Phillies.
Hold on, Jake. I see it coming down, and it fell right in front of me. That's what Connor was talking about. I don't know if you saw that, but man, just 2 guys, coming out to the middle of the field and watching the ball fall right in front of them. I can't imagine being a fan of the Phillies and being part of that fan base, because Angel fans, we're laid back, we're chill, but to see that happen, I can't imagine how the Phillies fan base responded.
I mean, that's little league stuff, right, John? And I don't want to speak for you or anybody else, but I come unglued when my team makes those types of mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're going to continue our look around the league. This is MLB Game Night. We've got more on the slate for you, including Kenley Jansen notching his 450th career save on his way to Cooperstown. We'll get into that in just a minute. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, you know that quality matters. What you get out of your body is what you put into it. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Maybe we got to get some of those Phillies outfielders some Just Ingredients. They offer an NSF certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine. They're all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper. See, he can hook him up with some Just Ingredients. He trusts their NSF certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. Just Ingredients prioritizes wholesome, nourishing ingredients without all the artificial junk. Whether you're recovering from a workout or need an energy boost, their grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout deliver real results. So visit justingredients.us/Bryce Harper and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off your order. Again, justingredients.us/Bryce Harper. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off your order. And for more wellness tips, follow just.ingredients on Instagram. Back at it here on Locked On MLB Game Night. I'm John Frisch. He's Jake Riepma. Jake, we're going to do a little rapid fire here and go around the league. Let's start with the Angels versus the Rays. And hey, I know this guy. I'm familiar with him. It's my brother Mike, and he's got the look on what happened, not in Tampa because, well, first of all, the Rays don't play in Tampa, but they're at George Steinbrenner Field now. Let's go to Mike from Locked On Angels for more on this game.
This was a wild one in Tampa Bay on Tuesday night, 4-3. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mike Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels. These Angels look like a different team, and last night they proved how different they are. They came back to win that game, 4-3, in Tampa Bay. The game was tied in the 9th inning, 3-3. Logan O'Hoppe pinch hit single, gets on base, finds himself at second base, and then Luis Rengifo singles him in to give the Angels a 4-3 lead. But everything went wild in the bottom of the 9th inning. Kenley Jansen comes in. The first 2 batters reach. They end up stealing second and third. So there's no outs, runners at second and third. And the infield is in. So Kenley Jansen gets the next batter to ground to Rengifo at third. They throw the runner out at home. Then the next batter strikes out. And then with 2 outs, runners again at second and third. Out comes Barry Enright, the Angels pitching coach, to give Kenley some coaching advice. Kenley doesn't even hear him, doesn't even talk to him. As Barry Enright comes out, Kenley begins to orchestrate where he wants the infield to be, where he wants the outfield to be, and he wants to take over this game, and he does. He ends up striking out the last Tampa Bay batter, and the Angels win 4-3 with a big fist pump. They are 7-3, their best start in franchise history. The Angels are good friends. Don't believe us, that's fine, but they're going to prove you wrong.
Ooh,
I love it. I
my
love
brother
it.
bringing the heat. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He sure is. And I love it, man. 7-3, heck of a start for the Angels. And I'm proud of you, John, because if it were me, I'd be a lot like your brother and bringing the heat a little bit. You're chill. And I'm very impressed with that.
Yeah, you know what? I was fired up when that game ended. And that's why Kenley Jansen is on his way to Cooperstown. Let's hop over to the Twins versus the Royals, where the Royals took this one 2-1 on the back of a Cole Reagan start, 11 strikeouts through 6 innings. For more, we're going to head on over to Locked On Royals. If I could find that video. Alphabetize, John, alphabetize. Here we go.
The Royals have taken the first 2 games in the series against the Minnesota Twins, and tonight, once again, it was the pitching that found a way to get it done. Cole Reagan struck out 11 and walked nobody in 6 innings and only gave up 1 run. Offensively, nothing too crazy to talk about. You did have a RBI from Salvador Perez early on to give Reagan's a 1-0 lead, though it was Harrison Bader that tied the game shortly after that on an RBI double that eventually led to Mark Canha leaving the game with some hip soreness. And later on in the 8th inning, it was the speed of Bobby Witt Jr. to get things done on a comebacker to the mound where Griffin Jacks threw wildly to first, and then moments later, Vinny Pasquantino drives him in on an infield single. As for the bullpen, they didn't use Harvey, Estevez, or Ursig, but they get it done with Angel Serpa, John Schreiber, and Daniel Lynch to lock down the 2-1 win. Tomorrow, they'll face off with Joe Ryan, who's always had the number of the Royals.
Gotta like Cole Reagan's, man. Getting traded from the Rangers, making a case for himself as his own Cy Young contention. I know he didn't defeat Tarik Skubal last year, but Cole Reagan's, man, a great move from Texas to Kansas City, putting him in the rotation and making it happen. So great success from that young man, and a big win for the Royals in their division, the AL Central. It's really a race between them and the Tigers. I think it's going to be this year.
Yeah, and it's still open and wide open enough. I mean, the Guardians get a win today, and it's at times has looked like the Comedy Central this year, and I think that corner's been turned. It was just a rough start for everybody.
Comedy Central,
but very much wide open.
That's great. Let's head on over to the NL Central. We had the Cardinals versus the Pirates. The Cards got to Paul Skeens. He is not indestructible. He is not invincible. They got to him in the 3rd and the 6th inning. They tagged him for 5 runs, the most that Skeens has ever given up in his short career. We're going to head over to JD from Locked On Cardinals to give us the down low. Here we go.
If Paul Skeens is Superman, then the Cardinals are his kryptonite. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and the Redbirds were able to snap their 4-game losing streak on Tuesday night by defeating one of the best pitchers in baseball again. Reigning NL Rookie of the Year and God's gift to pitching, Paul Skeens took the bump on another chilly night in Pittsburgh, but the Cardinals offense, which has been one of the best in baseball, was not intimidated. They touched him up for a career-high 5 runs on 6 hits, with Victor Scott II coming up with a big 2-run triple in the 3rd inning to stake them to a lead that they would never relinquish. Sonny Gray only lasted 5 innings, but he was excellent, allowing just 1 run on 3 hits and punching out 4. Bullpen got a little shaky at the end, but they get their first road win of the season by a score of 5-3. Skeens is now 0-3 against the Cardinals in 4 career starts. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
So you're saying I should be more like JD when it comes to, bragging about my team, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Leaving nothing in question. Leave no doubt. Awesome. And that is, I knew Skeens had struggled against the Cardinals, but I didn't know 0-3. Wow.
Yeah, big time. The White Sox and the Guardians got together, and the Guardians had their home opener, and it was a walk-off walk. Jake, it was 2 hits for the White Sox, 3 hits for the Guardians. Mike Clevenger gave up a single, then he walked 3, including the winning run in that White Sox versus Guardians game. The Blue Jays and the Red Sox got together. The Blue Jays take it 6-1. Springer Dinger, he hits a home run in the 6th, puts them over the top. The Rangers and the Cubs, we were talking about how the Rangers needed some offense, and they got it, but the Cubs had just a little bit more, and I'm celebrating because, he's not an angel, but I do love me some Say Ya If you
Love
like
it.
that right there. All right.
That's impressive. Yeah. On the Rangers side of thing, this is what Ranger fans were fearful of entering the season is the lackluster bullpen. And it showed its ugly head today for the Texas Rangers. And that's an area that this team on paper thought might be a weakness entering the season. And so far the weakness has been the offense. But like you said, today the offense was there, but the bullpen gives it up. And the Cubs, they're also pretty hot right now.
Hey, let's take it over to Brewers versus Rockies. A huge inning for the Brewers. 3 home runs in the 7th inning from Bryce Terang, Christian Yelich, and Williams Contreras. Zach Veen, the Rockies' number 8 prospect, made his debut in left field, but it was for naught. 7-1 for the Brewers. The Astros and the Mariners, of course, keeping us up late tonight, Jake. But it was Okert who struck out Bliss to end the game. Ryan Bliss did have a pretty great play as the ball bounced off the second base bag in extras, but came up short in the end. The Reds versus the Giants. It was a pitcher's duel, 1-0. Nick Lodolo pitches 6 shutout innings. Real quick, let's go over to Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds for more. And to me, it looks like he's at the game. Let's take a look.
Doesn't matter how many runs you score as long as you score more than the other team. And the Reds did that. 1-0 win. 18 shutout innings here in San Francisco for the Reds pitching staff. And there's one more game to go. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And another dominant pitching performance put together, this time by Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft, who looked amazing out of the bullpen for 2 innings. And then Emilio Pagan comes in, just gets a couple of lazy fly balls and 3 quick outs for his second save of the season and a big win for the Redlegs. Spencer Steer had 2 hits, scored 1 run, and that's really all there was, and that's all the Reds needed. They'll go for the sweep. They got their first series win. Hopefully we'll see that sweep. Tim's got you covered on the postcast. Steve has you covered tomorrow on the show. I'll be back with you in a couple of days.
Sorry, that NL West that started out so hot, Jake, kind of struggling lately. The Giants losing to the Reds, the Dodgers to the Nationals. The Padres had a terrible day against the A's. They lost 10-4 up in Sacramento. They lost Jackson Merrill to the 10-day IL. Jake Cronenworth left the game. Tatis left the game. Not looking good for the NL West right now, Jake.
Yeah, kind of strange how quickly it all turned. But again, it's only a game or two here or there. But yeah, to see the Giants get shut out in back-to-back games is kind of wild. And then to see the Padres kind of get blown out by an Athletics team. And then just if the Dodgers are losing back-to-back games to the Washington Nationals, obviously it's all very, very puzzling and a testament to why you play the game.
Yeah, a wise person once said, it's still early. Oh, that was you. It's still early because anything could happen. Look at the difference between the 2 weeks of ball we've played so far for some of these teams, winning all of them and then losing a bunch of them. And this week is still young. Let's go to our last game of the night, the Orioles versus the D-backs. It was an ump show because Laz Diaz ended up throwing everybody out of this game after he botched a check swing call. Torey Lovello got ejected. I think Merrill Kelly got ejected. He was already out of the game. But the difference here was a Josh Naylor 2-run double in this one. Are you happy to have Josh Naylor out of the AL Central?
Oh my goodness. You're not kidding, brother. I mean, that guy he finds a way to rake. And I'm glad he's doing it against a different division than the years and years of torturing the AL Central.
And he tortured my Angels for years as well. Absolutely ridiculous. I feel like he always had Shohei's number when Shohei was on the mound. Well, that about does it. We got through it all, Jake. How about that?
Yeah, kudos to you, man, and appreciate all the Locked On hosts sending in their recaps. But it was a busy night of baseball, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, if you're watching out there, thank you for joining us tonight. We love all the comments. Brian says, what's going wrong with the Baltimore Orioles, or the Baltimoreals, as I like to call them? Eflin looks like it's going to be some time on the IL for him. We were talking about that last night. So unfortunate for the Orioles. We'll see how that shakes out for their rotation. But that's going to do it for this edition of MLB Game Night. We thank you for being here. He's Jake Riepma. I'm John Frisch. Thank you so much for joining us. And Jake, what do you say? Want to do this again tomorrow night?
I've had so much fun with you. Let's run it back, and we'll go over all the other games because we know there's going to be more baseball, my friend.
Exactly. And you know what else? We'll do it live. We're going to do it live. Last out, last game. We'll see you right back here for more Locked On MLB Game Night.